shortening or contraction. This comparatively new way of word building has achieved a high degree of productivity nowadays, especially in American English. Shortenings or contracted words or curtailed words are produced in two different ways. The first is to make a new word from a syllable, rarer two syllables, of the original word. The latter may lose its beginning, as in phone made from telephone, fence from defense, its ending, as in halls from holidays, back from vacation, props from properties, ad from advertisement, or both the beginning and ending, as in flu from influenza, fridge from refrigerator. The second way of shortening is to make a new word from the initial letters of a word group. For example, UNO, United Nations Organization, BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, MP, Member of Parliament. This type is called initial shortenings. They are found not only among formal words, but also among colloquialisms and slang. GF is a shortened word made from the compound girlfriend. The word, though, seems somewhat ambiguous, as the following conversation clearly shows. Who is the letter from? My GF. Didn't know that had girlfriends? A nice girl? Idiot, it's from my grandfather. It is believed that the preference for shortenings can be explained due to the ever-increasing tempo of modern life, yet confusion and misunderstanding are quite natural consequences of the modern overabundance of shortened words, and initial shortenings are often especially enigmatic and misleading. Both types of shortenings are characteristic of informal speech in general and of uncultivated speech in particular. The history of the American OK, for example, seems to be rather typical. Originally, this initial shortening was spelled differently, yes, and it was supposed to stand for all correct. The purely oral manner in which sounds were recorded for letters resulted in today's OK. Here we can name some other examples of informal shortenings. For example, movie from moving picture, gent from gentleman, specs from spectacles, circs from circumstances, and so on. Students' informal speech abounds in words of this type. For example, exam, lab, prof, back, hall, and there can be named many other examples. And now let us deal with sound imitation or onomatopoeia. Words coined by this type of word building are made by imitating different kinds of sounds that may be produced by animals, birds, insects, human beings, and inanimate objects. It is of some interest that sounds produced by the same kind of animal are frequently represented by quite different sound groups in different languages. English dogs bark or howl. The English cock cries cock-a-doodle-doo. In England, ducks quack and frogs croak. Some names of animals, and especially of birds and insects, are also produced by sound imitation. For example, crow, cuckoo, hummingbird, cricket. There is a hypothesis that sound imitation is a way of as a way of word formation should be viewed as something much wider than just the production of words by the imitation of purely acoustic phenomena. Some scholars suggest that words may imitate through the sound form certain unacoustic features and qualities of inanimate objects, actions and processes. or that the meaning of the word can be regarded as the immediate relation of the sound group to the object. So if a young chicken or kitten is described as fluffy, there seems to be something in the sound of an adjective that conveys the softness. Such verbs as to glance, to glide, to slide, to sleep are supposed to convey by their very sound the nature of the smooth, easy movement over a slippery surface. The sound form of the words shimmer, glimmer, glitter seems to reproduce the wavering, tremulous nature of the faint light, and so on. Yes. Now let us deal with reduplication. In reduplication, new words are made by doubling a stem, either without any phonetic changes, as in bye-bye, or with a variation of the root vowel or consonant, as for example in ping-pong, chit-chat, which is gradational reduplication. This type of word building is greatly facilitated in modern English by the vast number of monosyllables. Stylistically speaking, most words made by reduplication represent informal groups, colloquialisms, and slang. For example, walkie-talkie, riff-raff, which means worthless and disreputable element of society, dilly-dallying, which means wasting time, doing nothing, shilly-shallying, which means indecision, and so on. And finally, back formation. The earliest examples of this type of word building are the verb to beg, that was made from the French borrowing beggar, to burgle from burglar, to cobble from cobbler. In all these cases, the verb was made from the noun by subtracting what was mistakenly associated with the English suffix er. The pattern of the type to work, worker, was firmly established in the subconscious of English-speaking people at the time when these formations appeared, and it was taken for granted that any noun denoting profession or occupation is certain to have a corresponding verb of the same root. So in the case of a burgle, to beg, the process was reversed. Instead of a noun made from a verb by affixation, like painter to paint, a verb was produced from a noun by subtraction. That is why this type of word building received the name of back formation.